Move on to talk about Paul Scholes. He had some comments on Andre Onana, uh, and we discuss on whether or not he will be a problem for Manchester United, Andre Onana. But let's go quickly to Paul Scholes' comments on Onana. Let's open them up real here because I don't want to misquote anything he said. Obviously, I want to read his quote word by word, but obviously, it was something. It was something um, that was a little bit negative in regards to Onana, and he voiced his opinion. The overlap fan debate is a great show, and it's fantastic to watch. Being able for these sort of players, these legends, to debate fans and to talk fans and give fans the voice that they deserve. I love seeing it. I love seeing that. I love watching that show. It's one of the things I look forward to a lot. Um, so, but speaking on the overlap, Paul Scholes, Man United legend, said, "I've heard a lot of Manchester United fans say how excited they are for the new season. I'm struggling with that. I still think there are areas of the pitch which are a problem for United. The new centre back, Lenny Yoro, has already got. Speaking about Lenny Yoro, has already got injured. Um, Martinez was injured last season. Maguire was injured at the end of the season. Lindelof the same. No Varane this season. I still worry about the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is a big concern for me. Even in preseason with some of the goals he conceded, I worry to death about him. And I have to say, there's a that's for me. I don't think that's unfair. What we've seen from Andre Onana in that first season, um, you know, I think what we saw from Onana first season, there's a right to be concerned. He was terrible. Some of the mistakes were dumbfounding. Some of the mistakes that he made, it was just unbelievable to think about. So, some of the issues that Man United were presented with Onana. These saves, these routine saves, even sometimes the easy saves, he was making it look a lot more difficult than what it was. It was just a terrible, terrible, terrible season for Andre Onana, compounded with a terrible, terrible, terrible season from United. Um, uh, um, just too many, big time mistakes, especially in the Champions League. Just horrible, horrible mistakes that a player, not a player. I mean, that not even a fan, but I'm talking like someone who's just watching the game, a casual, watching the game of football, game of soccer, can see, oh, the player in between the posts there should have done better. Uh, the player in the yellow, the goalkeeper, the goalie should have done better. You know, some of the saves have been horrendous that he's allowed in, and he does not give much confidence to the back four, just based on what we saw last season. Now he did have a brilliant season at Inter Milan, and getting them into where he was, getting them into top four, not top four, into the Champions League final, being part of that team. But it's for Manchester United. It's about what you do for Manchester United and what he's done at Manchester United so far. He has not had. He's had a terrible season, and also with Andre Onana, his main gift is playing out of the back, right? And he can do that very, very well. But if you're not a decent shot stopper, all that goes out the window. All that goes out the window. David De Gea, the seasons he had for Manchester United, he spoiled Manchester United. And you know, early on his career, obviously it did drop off in the last later years, but early, during the main stage of career, David De Gea was lights out, game in, game out. He was impossible to stop. If you got a goal past United, you would have been proud of yourself. That's how dominant and David De Gea was in terms of his shot stopping. Andre Onana is nowhere near that. He does not provide the confidence to the back line that a goalkeeper like David De Gea provided for Manchester United. So yeah, I think Paul Scholes does have a right to be hugely concerned, especially in the fact that how he said, the center backs Lenioro has already gone down. There's been major sort of injury crisis, not crisis, but woes already that United are suffering, especially in that center half position. In the fact that they've lost Varane, they did bring in Matthias de Ligt, but in the fact that they lost Varane. Now, I don't know how much this makes a difference in terms of Onana and his shot stopping, but he does have someone he's familiar with now playing in front of him with Matthias de Ligt coming in. I think he's going to play a lot of the games as that center half for Manchester United. Can that make it a little bit more comfortable? Maybe that increases the sort of, the sort of fluidity and sort of and sort of chemistry amongst the back five, which when I say back five, I mean the back four and goalkeeper, having a familiar player in there, getting a year more familiar with the likes of Lissandro and Dalot and Luke Shaw, despite the fact that he didn't even get to play that much with Luke Shaw and Alessandro. But I don't know. Look, he did struggle massively in his first season. But I do see some of the one positive thing is I do see his interviews, especially that he had later on the season with Sky Sports with Gary Neville, and he seems a player that oozes, and despite the horrible season he was having, he oozes confidence and he oozes bravery. And for me, from the mental side of it, watching that sort of interview, watching his answers, watching his body language, his tone and everything, he seems like a player that doesn't get bothered too much about the mistakes that he's making and is able to bounce back and can bounce back and have a great season after last season. I think mentality wise, I do think he has a good mentality. I don't think this is something that's gonna carry on to him mentally for too long. I don't think this is something that's gonna break him mentally. I don't think the pressure is gonna get to him sort of a similar way that it got to Harry Maguire. Over the past few years or so, the heavy criticism. I think Andre Onana will be able to mentally get past all those sort of issues and will be able to get back if there is a dominant form of him, at Manchester United. I think he'll be able to find it because I don't think this is a player that's gonna just lose all his confidence and be mentally broken. The interview I saw, I was very, very impressed with his sort of confidence, with the bravery, with his ability to not only just to answer the questions, but his, the accountability and realizing that, everyone, everyone makes mistakes and he'll bounce back he'll bounce back. He's also talked about Marcus Rashford. I thought the interview should give United fans a little bit more confidence with him. I know Rio Ferdinand, he happens to be Mr. Positive when it comes to Manchester United and all the time. And, England, whenever it's like that sort of season, he's always Mr. Positive. He's always crazy unobjective and crazy not objective and crazy biased toward his clubs. But he still, he still does have an opinion, and I will acknowledge it. And during on social media, on Twitter, during the Q&A, Rio Ferdinand, he did come out and say some sort of defense for Andre Onana. He said, "I think Onana can be the right one for us. It was a difficult season last season. Conceding a lot of goals, not just him, but as a team. But I think he has to have defenders that are willing to receive the ball. And that's when, I'm going to cut off the quote mid there. That's when a guy like Matthias de Ligt, his ability to play with the ball and the fact that he also has chemistry with Andre Onana. They were together when the Ajax made that run into that semifinals of the Champions League under the likes of Erik ten Hag. But going back to the main point, going back to the quote, but I think he has to have defenders that are willing to receive the ball, that want to receive the ball, that get into the right positions to receive the ball, in positions but also body shape, facing the right way to receive the ball. if they do that, then we have a chance to really play out and become a better team than we're playing out, especially from restarts. So yeah, he can be, but I think other things have to work in order for him to be the best player that he can be. The goalkeeper that I saw at Ajax and Inter Milan, you know, I think he does have, that sort of ability. But at the end of the day, he's talking about players wanting to receive the ball and all that. But that doesn't, you know, again, that doesn't have anything to do with the mistakes when it comes to shot stopping, though. Some of the ridiculous set pieces that he looks horrible in, his lack of presence, it doesn't account for that. That's still a major issue as well, guys. And it's crazy to me that Rio Ferdinand wants to just ignore it and just talk about everything else that doesn't kind of matter. But that's always what Ferdinand been in his career in terms of punditry. So, he happens to be a crazy biased pundit when it comes to some of the former clubs or some of the teams he played for, specifically talk about Manchester United in England.